Good morning and welcome. When we go through the midlife, we experience so many different symptoms, and there are many things that can help us get through that period. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam. I'm a nutritional therapist, and it's my aim to help women get through those mid-years, through the perimenopause, through menopause, into older years as easily and painlessly as possible. And I want that to be sort of simple things that you can do that don't take too much time or too much thought, because we're all very busy at this stage in our lives, and it all kind of comes together and makes it really challenging. So I spoke about herbs last week, and this week I thought I would look at spices and see how spices interact with sort of menopausal symptoms, what we can do, how we can use them, you know, the power, etc. They have great health benefits, which I think most people know, and as part of an everyday diet, they are easy to include and they have a lot of impact. So I think they're really good from that perspective. So my notes I made when I was doing a bit of reading around this was, could they help with weight loss, with belly fat? Could they help with the metabolic health, which I already knew they could? Could they help with hot flushes? Could they help with our brain, with our energy levels, and other age-related issues that could arise, and other sort of menopausal symptoms like anxiety and mood swings and irritability, actually, which we don't speak about very much, but that too. And I've got both my little dogs here, both of them are here, and they're a little bit excitable. I haven't taken them for a walk yet, so they're kind of nudging me for that, but we'll go in a minute. I've chosen a few herb spices. I think I've got, what have I got? 5, I think. So I want to start with cinnamon, and I use cinnamon on a daily basis. This is an advert. I don't represent any company. I'm totally independent, but this is what I use, and I like to share what I use. This is by Whole Foods online, and they do an organic Ceylon cinnamon powder. I keep it in the fridge. Spices can go off, so if you keep them in a jar in your cupboard, you could expect to replace them every 6 months, but I keep this in the fridge and top up my little jar that I keep out, and this one's from Sri Lanka, so that's where I get mine from. So the cinnamon, it's from the bark of a tree, and it's very rich in polyphenols, so this has antioxidant properties. This helps us fight those sort of free radicals and oxidative stress that goes on in the body. It helps us fight that and keep things all sort of going nicely. It can help with blood sugar regulation, and that's what I've predominantly recommended it for to clients of mine when they come. They've got weight issues, for instance, or they might be pre-diabetic, they might be diabetic. Helping us balance our blood sugar is really important, and it can also help modulate the insulin as well as a result. So it's very useful to add some of that to your daily diet. It can help reduce inflammation, and it can help slow the emptying of the stomach. Again, this is very useful when it comes to weight loss. So it's, I think, very good. I have it with my berries in the morning, with yogurt and nuts, and it just helps slow that stomach release and helps that whole blood sugar balance situation. It can also reduce, I believe, heart disease risk. Now, a lot of these, boo-boo, don't darling. A lot of the information I've read about isn't based on human studies. It's based on test tubes and animal studies. Again, it's a natural product that can't be patented. So there is no money in it for a pharmaceutical company to look into this. They wouldn't be able to sell it under patent to regain their investment. So there's very little good research, but as these herbs and spices have been used for centuries, they've not just been used for no good reason. But there's some studies on, as I say, in test tubes and animals, so we can have an expectation that we could try it and see if it works for us. Now, also mention of neurodegenerative diseases that can help protect against things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. There's also some cancer protection by reducing the growth of cancer cells. Again, this was in a test tube and with animals. Now, I've just shown you that I use the Ceylon cinnamon. That is the best one to use. There's another one called cassia, and in small amounts it's fine, but in larger amounts it has a compound, what's it called, coumarin, in it, which at high levels can be potentially damaging to the liver. So look for Ceylon cinnamon, and as I say, buy Whole Foods online is an easy way to go about it. They have all sorts there, and they do the organic as well, which I particularly like. So avoid cassia, look for Ceylon. It's an easy win, that one. I put it in with my berries, and I have a bit of porridge in the winter, I'll put it in there. You can sprinkle it into, I put it into when I do a chilli, I put cinnamon in the chilli as well. It adds that little something. Put it in with stewed apple, it adds a sweetness as well. So it's a really useful spice to have in your store cupboard. And there's all sorts of foods that we have. I mean, I wouldn't recommend cinnamon biscuits, for instance, but you can see it's utilised in all sorts of areas of our sort of diet. Yeah, my next one is cayenne pepper. Capsaicin is the compound in there. Now I've got a little bit of, this is just an ordinary chilli in here. I've run out of cayenne at the moment, but again, buy Whole Foods online is where I would get it. This is really good for our metabolism and weight management again. It does very similar to the cinnamon, helping with blood sugar management and really increasing our metabolic rate, so we can utilise energies that we've eaten quicker. So it's called thermogenic, basically, that practice. It promotes fat oxidation and can help reduce appetite. So it can help us from a weight perspective, from you know, just making sure our appetite isn't overactive. It's also high in vitamin A, carotenoids, vitamin C, and therefore great for vision, which I spoke about vision a while back now, and how sight loss as we get older, we need to protect that, because you can become very incapacitated when you can't see. That's when you rely on others, so that's a really important one. It can also support our bone health, which is good to know. It has a role in collagen production, partly because of the vitamin C, and also in it's neurotransmitter synthesis. It means about making those sort of neurons, those connections, say, in our brain. It's great for pain relief, anti-inflammatory again, and an Italian study found that regular chili pepper consumption, so general chili pepper consumption, was associated with a lower risk of death from heart disease. So there's an element of protection there, possibly with the blood vessels that was found. Again, one has to go cautiously. Chili in small doses has wonderful benefits, but for some people, oh no, Luna, thanks, she's brought me an old sock. We play with sock. But not now, please, sweetie. Yes, again, the chilies can actually irritate the gut, and you may find that you get some discomfort from that. It may also trigger the little valves, the sphincters, all the way through our digestive system to open, and we might find some digestive issues from that as well. So add to food for flavouring regularly with these, and you're, I think, doing really well. You're really supporting yourself. Looking for levels that may give you, say, the weight loss, because there is some research suggesting certain amounts for weight loss. I'd be cautious with that, because we tend to go further than we should, and that's where we get problems, because too much of a good thing is too much. So add it to your food for flavouring, and I think you're going to get benefits from that in its own right. My next one I chose was turmeric, and I haven't got turmeric here today. I've run out of turmeric, and I do like to buy that fresh if I can. I get that from Riverford. I have my veggie box from Riverford. Again, not sponsored at all. It's just who I use. They have it available when it's in season, and I like to prepare it fresh. It is messy, it does stain things, so you do need to wear probably gloves and do it in an area where you're not going to stain something that may be really important to you. So I like to process it, grate it, and then freeze it in little ice cubes, and then take them out of the ice cube tray, put them in a bag, and then I can add it to food from there. If I can use it fresh, I keep some for fresh usage as well. I actually do like it in a smoothie. If I have a smoothie, it's quite earthy, but it just adds a little something different, I think. But anyway, so it's called the Golden Goddess in one of its nicknames, and it contains a compound called curcumin, which can be found in supplement form. But it's good to remember that although a compound has been discovered as a very active compound, it may not be as effective on its own as when it's with other compounds that support it. And that's when food comes together beautifully, when you've got different compounds, each supporting the other to do perhaps different jobs. But in seclusion, it's like one man trying to build a house might not be able to hold up a piece of wood and nail it at the same time. Whereas if you've got several, you can get it done, and it works. So keeping in mind, I think the food is the best source to look for. Turmeric is famous for reducing inflammation. It's got great anti-inflammatory compounds. It can help us, again, with oxidative stress and other damage in the body. It can act as a phytoestrogen. These are plant-like estrogens that have a mild estrogenic effect on the body and can help us balance our hormones. So most of the herbs and spices have some of that and are worthy of being included in the diet. You're only going to get a mild effect, so it wouldn't be like an HRT, for instance, but every little bit helps in the natural world, I believe. It can help alleviate hot flushes, which is wonderful to know. Again, with the anti-inflammatory benefits, it can help reduce joint pain. It's also very good for mood swings and cognitive behaviour and decline, basically. And it can also help us support our cardiovascular system and our bone health. Great on digestion, and it also has some protection for the liver and kidneys, and it has an antihistamine benefit. Now that was interesting. I hadn't realised that histamine issues can be alongside lower estrogen when we get to menopause. I hadn't twigged that, I hadn't connected it. So if you get itchy skin or rashes come up when you're going through the sort of perimenopause, it may be that you're getting an increase in histamine as a result, and it can be managed, it would appear, with, not entirely probably, but with including turmeric in your diet. Hot flushes, I think I mentioned. Again, it's got I've said the phytoestrogen, haven't I? Have I? Yes, I have. I thought I had. Yeah. It can be beneficial also in weight loss. So we've had 3 so far can assist us with weight loss and our metabolism and the regulation of our metabolism. It's reported to help skin aging and also bone health because of the phytoestrogen effect. It's a blood thinner as well, can help dissolve clots and improve the quality of blood vessels and lower blood pressure, I should say, for the heart. Again, few human studies, but this is the expectation that you could see some benefits from it. So it's not it will, it's it could. It may well support you in those areas. So and as an additive to the food, a food colorant or flavour, it's in many curries. It's I think, a very powerful spice and worthy of being in your kitchen cupboard and in your food. No point having it all in the kitchen cupboard, it's got to go in the food. And you can see that from these spices I mentioned and from the herbs from last week, we can put these in daily, and that's what we're looking for, daily, small doses daily. My next one, I have got some ginger in the fridge, but it's looking a bit sad. I thought I'm not going to put that out to show you. We know what ginger root looks like. I usually have, I probably still have some actually, ginger powder as well. I like the fresh most of the time. It's very good, been shown to help again with hot flushes and night sweats. Great anti-inflammatories again to help with arthritis and joint pain, and also has been said to benefit bone and reduce bone loss. Now, we don't often talk about the vagina and dryness in that area, and yet it is a major issue for many women when they get to these mid-years. And ginger has been cited to help vaginal dryness, also bladder support, as well as depression, anxiety and irritability and mental exhaustion. It's supposed to be, but it is quite a boost, isn't it? It can help relieve menstrual cramps if you're still going through menstrual cycles. It can help with those. Also, I use it for digestive issues. I like it in a little bit of water. But it's also good for flatulence and releasing the gas, and regulating bowel movements. It's anti-inflammatory as well, and it reduces swelling and also pain associated with that. It can be absorbed via the skin as well, and that's something I didn't mention about turmeric. You can make sort of like a poultice and put it in some fabric on an area of skin. Now with turmeric, it may stain it will stain whatever fabric you're putting it in, but it may stain your skin as well. But these have been used as poultices for centuries again to help with injury and bring down inflammation. It is again a strong antihistamine, and is said to boost the immune system as well. It does have lovely antimicrobial properties. It's a great one to take with a bit of lemon in some water to drink when you've got a sore throat. So antimicrobial is wonderful. And benefits for the heart, I think I've mentioned, which very similar again to turmeric, because they're both roots, very, very similar. Turmeric tends to be much finer. So ginger, great one, and wonderful flavour. I do love it with stir fries. It just adds that something. I like it in curries as well. It's fabulous. My final spice for today, that doesn't seem like many, have I done them all? I have actually. My final one is fenugreek. Not so common. I thought I had some in the cupboard, but it turns out I've got fennel. This is a good phytoestrogen as well, and therefore can help with hot flushes and night sweats. It's also been cited as helping with insomnia, again vaginal dryness, and it is used in China quite a bit for menopausal symptoms. So these are they all have something that could help us at this time of life. Some cautions are, some of them have got quite high levels of oxalates. I believe cinnamon's quite high. I haven't checked the actual levels, and I thought I'd look at oxalates another time. And so too much, if you've got any issues with kidney stones or gallstones, you may want to be cautious on this and just have a word with your physician if you're worried at all. But too much of a good thing, as I say, is too much of a good thing. So avoid overdoing it. Add these to your food for flavour, and add something with the herbs and the spices on a daily basis, and I think you will really find benefits from that without having to look at dosages. We haven't got time, have we? I just get a teaspoon, pop it in. If it's chilli, I'm more cautious because sometimes it's a bit more powerful than I expected, or cayenne. So add them to your food. Now, one thing I wanted to also look into, I thought about this last week and spoke about the blue zones, and spices are also, I think there's a thought around spices as well as herbs. The blue zones, for those of you who don't know, are the areas around the world, 5 areas which have been studied for the reasons why these people live to 100 in good health, not on any medication, and it's a regular thing in those particular areas. There are other areas around the world where it's the same situation, where people live a long time, but they haven't been studied in the same way. So the blue zones are 5 areas around the world. They have similarities in various areas. Not just their diet, their exercise, their sense of purpose, their spirituality, their community. There's all these other things that come together. But when it comes to the diets, one thing I pointed out last week was they do all eat herbs in their diets. They eat very fresh, natural foods. They're all different ones, but they're generally fresh and natural. They don't tend to use pesticides and herbicides. It's pretty much the upper hill. It's the historical way of doing things. Spices sort of come into this as well, although they can store reasonably well. Some of the areas definitely use quite a bit of spice, and I think that's important for us to just take on board. I did look again to see whether there's been any studies into how the women of these areas go through the menopause. I have found some write-ups this time around, but it would appear that they're looking, as I have done, at the studies that have been done on the items and areas that they include in their lives, rather than specifically asking these women, what menopausal symptoms do you experience? What do you do about it? Do you have natural methods? They're not on HRT. Their bones are fine. I think it's exciting, interesting and poignant, and if I were able to, and I'm not financially in a position to do it, I would love to go and interview the women and find out about their menopause experience and how they tackle it. And if their natural way of living means they go through it without any issue, then that's brilliant. That we've got that blueprint already. So yes, spices, great to include. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you found this useful, please share it with somebody who might also benefit. Please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. It just means you'll be notified when I put a video out. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.